And by the time I got there, they were holding down an individual, and he had ripped his cheek off and had gouged out one of his eyes and was ripping at his body because he claimed that this thing had entered him.
In the movie, they kind of explain what the difference between ghosts and poltergeists are. Can you explain a little bit? And also, what is the scariest poltergeist you've encountered?
Okay. Well, the terms ghost and poltergeist, it's interesting, the terminology. Obviously, these come from early spiritualism, early psychic research. The term poltergeist itself is a term from the mid-1800s, a German term meaning noisy ghost. A ghost itself is actually much older than that, the terminology. And these terms have actually changed, have been redefined over the course of modern spiritualism, early psychic research, and then modern parapsychology. And I think what a lot of researchers are trying to do in investigating these phenomena, they're trying to put them into categories so that you can try to explain what these phenomena are. In the thousands of cases I've been on, I've found that those categories they put them in actually don't qualify, because there's phenomena that are haunt-related and poltergeist-related that kind of intertwine with each other, at least regarding the symptoms, as it were, that produced. Typically, though, in parapsychology, a haunt has to do with a location, a place, could be a cave, could be a boat, could be an airplane. Sometimes it's an object that they say is haunted. And typically what happens is there's some kind of residual energy, and typically a haunt is considered as a residual haunt. Some kind of residual energy that's left behind, and it plays like a videotape. And in the same manner that a videotape, you hear voices, you see people, but you can't communicate with them, so there's no consciousness there. And the haunt phenomena, that's what the category they put that into. Poltergeist activity is different in that there's definite interaction happening. There's phenomena happening in the environment, changes in temperature, environmental anomalistic characteristics. People are being affected by these events. Sometimes it's more about the people and an individual, specific individual, because the phenomena can follow them behind. And that's typically been categorized as haunt, poltergeist in that way. Haunt being more the ghost, residual element, poltergeist being different. And again, on the thousands of cases I've been on, they're not separate. These things cross over. Every single case is different and unique depending on the people involved, the circumstances, the dynamic of the environment. That's sort of the bulk of it.
And what's the scariest you've seen?
Scariest. Well,
or difficult to get rid of?
Yeah, I think. Oh, okay, that's a way different question. I have to say, I have a very different approach in dealing with these phenomena, because my background, just real quick, my background is from a foundation of magic and illusion. So I'm familiar with how people can misperceive events, okay? Then into parapsychology, which is a very different method of exploring these phenomena. And then a lot of time trained as an anomalist. And in anomalistics, you investigate something not just scientifically, but you're actually investigating on a method that's above empirical science, because you're looking for things that are quantifiable. So all that being said, when I'm approaching these phenomena, I've kind of been trained and put into a mindset where fear isn't a factor. I've rarely ever been afraid walking in, whether it be a demonic possession, some kind of volatile poltergeist activity, or whatever the situation is. But I have been startled, no question, whether it be something ripping off the wall, flying at me, or especially in situations where it's not paranormal whatsoever, it's actually individuals that are psychotic in the situation, and they want to inflict harm to anyone that enters. That's very disturbing. So, I haven't been, those things haven't been really frightening. It's more or less been kind of a disturbing element. And same thing with possession exorcisms. It's the trauma that the people are going through and the family members. There was one case, poltergeist possession case, where the phenomena happening in the environment actually began manifesting in one of the people. And by the time I got there, they were holding down an individual, and he had ripped his cheek off and had gouged out one of his eyes and was ripping at his body because he claimed that this thing had entered him. At least that was his claim of this phenomenon that was taking place. So the trauma that people are experiencing is by far the most difficult thing to deal with. And getting rid of the situations, there's no guarantee. I think anyone who says they can guarantee get rid of these phenomena is trying to sell you something, because most of these cases, we don't even know the dynamics of what these phenomena are, which is why when you say poltergeist, there are so many definitions of poltergeist phenomena that try to. And there have been cases where the phenomena just kept happening, even though we were using even scientific methods to try to stop it. And in those cases, usually people wipe out the building, structure, warehouse, whatever it is, and turn it into a landfill or concrete over certain areas, that kind of thing.